Hi, I'd like to go over a site that I made, PrePubMed, that helps you search for preprints. So PrePubMed, it indexes preprints from arXiv, only the QBio sections, all PeerJ Preprints. Figshare is a little bit of a difficulty. The API is somewhat limited, and a lot of articles in Figshare are not actually preprints, so although I do index Figshare, if you preprint your article there, it might not get indexed. I'm sorry. If your article does not get indexed and you think it's an error, then please let me know. All of bioRxiv gets indexed, and then all of F1000 research gets indexed. And I'm going to work on indexing other preprint servers as well. I don't store the PDFs on PrePubMed. I just store the titles, abstracts, authors, dates, affiliations, the links to the article, and you'll get sent to the respective site. I've made, some people requested that PrePubMed be open source to help contribute, so I opened up the GitHub repository. So you could, if you want to help out, you could check out the open issues or the to-do list. And if you know how to use Python or Django, then go ahead and fork the repository and make your changes. One thing I've noticed is that people have a tendency to submit their article to multiple servers, which they likely do in an effort to publicize their research more, which I don't really blame them, but it does cause duplicates in PrePubMed, and I know who you guys are. Okay, so the searching PrePubMed, I tried to make the searching as similar to PubMed as possible. I also made the appearance similar to PubMed, as you can tell. I did that just so that the site will seem familiar to you. And I also want to put pressure on NCBI to index preprints. So I thought I would make a site that looks and acts a lot like PubMed. Okay, so if you want to search for an author, for example, if you want to search for me, you can type in my first name and my last name, and PrePubMed will recognize that that is an author, and in the search details, you can check to make sure that PrePubMed recognized the author. In this case, it did. This is my last name and my first name. And you'll get the date. In this case, both dates are the 23rd, and my first name is Jordan Koznitz. I'm not sure. And then if you click abstract, the JavaScript I have will show the abstract, and then you could hide it. So that's pretty nice. You can go ahead and click these tags, but the thing with these tags is these are preprint server specific tags. So in this case, if you hover over the link, if you look at the bottom left of the screen, you'll see that this is a PeerJ article. So these are PeerJ specific tags. So clicking on these tags will give you PeerJ articles, unless another preprint server has a tag with the exact same name, which is somewhat unlikely. So you'll probably only get PeerJ papers if you click on these tags. Now this over here, this is a bioRxiv paper, which you can look and see at the bottom left. And this is a bioRxiv tag. You can also click on the author names, and that will then give you all the papers by that author. One issue is if the author isn't written the same at each preprint server, then, for example, if you use middle initial on one preprint server but don't use middle initial at a different preprint server, then that will count as two different authors. Okay, so we just did a first name, last name, but you can also do last name, initial, like in PubMed. And that will recognize the last name, and then it'll recognize the initial. PrePubMed will recognize up to 2 initials, which is just like PubMed. So for example, if you search for the Eisen brothers, it will recognize the name as an author, and it'll give you Michael Eisen, but then you'll also get, okay, that's not an Eisen brother, but you'll get some Jonathan Eisen. Here we go. So you've got Michael and Jonathan Eisen, and then if you want only Michael Eisen, you would do that, which will recognize that as a last name and then first abbreviation. But then you can also, if you want to be more specific, do Eisen MB. Yep. So it will recognize the middle abbreviation. So one issue is I give preference to the last name. So if you try and do something like Michael B. Eisen, someone has the last name Michael. So what happened is it searched for Michael last, and then it also searched for Eisen last, which resulted in no articles. Okay, so let's say you're not searching for an author and you're just searching for example, cancer. You don't have to do anything special, just type in cancer, and as long as no one has the last name or first name cancer, you will get all the articles with cancer in the title or cancer in the abstract. One thing to note is sometimes you'll have some strange words show up as an author's name. For example, network. Network is the Cancer Genome Atlas Research Network, so network shows up as the last name. So you can't search network by just typing in network, which is a little bit unfortunate. So that's why I have the advanced search. So if you want to search for network and you want to search title abstract, you would search network there, type that in, and now you should get all the articles with network. That was a lot of articles. Yeah, okay, that's a lot. Another thing to keep in mind is punctuation gets removed. So if you type in punctuation, it's going to get removed. So, and double quotes do absolutely nothing if you don't have any spaces between your terms. So for the double quotes to do something, you need to have a space. So that will result in, yeah, here we go, highly significant. See this, it shows you what got searched. Okay, so as I said that some author names cause problems. For example, the is a problem author. Someone has the last name the, apparently. Another thing that happens is that some of the preprint servers, people's names get abbreviated, like the last name might be abbreviated, and then that will get indexed as a complete last name. So for example, the letter A, someone has the last name A, which maybe that's their last name, but it could have been an abbreviation at the preprint server. So you just have to make sure you look at the search details to see what happened with your search if you don't get the expected results. Okay, so one other thing to mention is you cannot type in any non-ASCII characters in this search box. So if you try and do that, you'll get this message. Another thing is I removed the same stop words that PubMed removes. So this is the stop words they remove. So if you type in a stop word and that is your only search, then you'll get a notification for that. Yeah, so you only entered a stop word, and then it'll take you to a list of stop words. So make sure you enter a non-stop word. Now, advanced doesn't do anything to your query. So advanced will let you search anything you want. If you want to search a non-ASCII character, you can. So there should be beta symbols somewhere in here. Here's an alpha symbol. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably a beta in here somewhere. So if you want to search non-ASCII characters, you have to use advanced search. So the thing is with advanced search is nothing is happening to your query. So if you type in two separate words, that gets treated as if it was double quoted in the normal search box. So this is the same as using double quotes in the normal box. So if you want to do two separate words, you have to do something like that. So you can basically only search two separate words. I could add more boxes, but I don't know if people need more than two words, because you could also, add an abstract, you could add a title. So this will give you all the cancer TCGA papers. You can't search for affiliation in the normal search box, but I do allow an affiliation search here. One thing to keep in mind is not all the preprint servers list affiliations. So if you want to know all the Harvard papers, here you go, 410. Oh, we got a duplicate here. I'll have to figure out what's going on with that later. Oh, we got a triplicate, a quad. It got indexed 4 times. Well, I'll have to go and take a look and see what's going on there. Normally that doesn't happen. Okay. I wonder if that was an error here. Okay, I'll look into this. Oh well. Okay. Couple other things to mention. So I recently became aware of search.bioPreprint. This is another attempt at searching preprints, and they search similar preprint servers as I do. And I'm actually happy to see that there's other efforts out there to search preprints, because I don't want all the pressure on just me to index preprints, which is another reason why I made the GitHub repository open source. If something happens to my server or something happens to me, I definitely want someone to be able to search preprints. But with that said, search.biopreprint, they're not indexing preprints, they're just typing in your query into the search box of the respective site, and then they're doing some fancy clustering of the results, and I don't know if they sort by date, but one thing is they don't have math jacks installed. So arXiv uses math jacks. So whenever you have dollar signs at the end of words, it gets converted into a special mathematical notation. See, this is what it would look like at the arXiv site. And I have math jacks on PrePubMed, but they didn't incorporate it. And then if you search something like cancer, it takes a little while because they have to query each server. And they only return a certain number. And I honestly don't know if these are sorted by date. This is, what's the date on this? May 1st, 2015? Yeah, so it doesn't look like they sort by date. So yeah, if you want to see all the articles that are indexed, one thing you could do is type a single letter here. And that should probably get you all the articles that are indexed. Okay, I think that went over most of the things about PrePubMed. If you find any errors in PrePubMed, like I just found with that multiple indexing, please let me know. Otherwise, I have no idea that the error exists. If you want to help with the GitHub repository, please do. And I do hope that a year from now, I'm not the only person in charge of indexing preprints. I do hope that this gets taken over by a research institution, or preferably in CBI. Okay, thanks.